Good afternoon, everybody. Robert Weichelt for another episode of the More Listings Mastermind, a real estate podcast. Each week we meet, we have great guests from around the country. And I tell you what, this week is no different. We have Wendy Martin from Realty Partners. BPOs to bank-owned listings is the topic, your shortcut to consistent deals. I need to see a show of hands in the chat box. Put your name in there and who wants consistent deals. I think that's kind of what it's all about. Consistency is key. So we meet every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern by going to morenowlistings.com. There is no registration. You just jump on, join us live, bring your good attitude. So that's what we're all about. Let's get started with a little housekeeping, shall we? Who am I? My name is Robert Weichelt. I'm the host of the More Listings Mastermind. Since 1986, I've had the privilege of helping thousands of sellers and countless agents achieve success in every type of market. I like to call the market the ups and downs and all arounds. As a broker, trainer, mentor, my mission is simple, guys, to empower others to grow, win, and lead with purpose. You can see all of our recordings on our YouTube channel and our Spotify. In case you're heading to an appointment, you want to jump in the car and listen to it on Spotify, you can do that. Our goal is to help agents get more now listings. Let's be clear what that means. Now listings means somebody that wants to sell today versus tomorrow. Somebody that wants to sell now is a FSBO, an expired, a pre-foreclosure. FSBO, they have their hands up. Expireds, they just got done showing you they wanted to sell, they just didn't sell, usually because it's price. Let's be honest. Most expired sellers are because of price, unrealistic pricing strategy and goals. Now, my question for you is, are you working with AI? If you're not, you need to. Put in the chat box if you're working with AI at any kind of level, because we're going to have a little talk about that at the end. But I really want to know who's working with FSBOs, expireds, and pre-foreclosures. The reason why I ask is FSBOs and expireds are the lowest hanging fruit on the seller tree. I think we can all agree on that. I'm not saying don't call your database, but call the lowest hanging fruit on the seller tree, FSBO and expired. The reason why I talk about notice of default, the notice of defaults, that's a big number. There's a lot of folks having some issues. We need to reach out to them. We need to reach out to them and give them that, hey, I want to help you keep your home. Yes, that's right. I want to help people keep their home. I don't want people to lose their home. Never, ever, 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 never. We want to help them keep their home because every single default seller I've ever talked to in the history of the world, every last one of them has wanted to keep their home without exception. I've never had somebody say, nope, I'm done, throwing in the towel. They all want to keep it. They all want to find ways to keep it. Be that resource for them. Know your options. Explain those options to the sellers or to those potential sellers or those homeowners. So power, growth, and momentum. That's what this is all about. Now, I want to start with a real quick quote. The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. And that's so important because everybody wants instant success. I can tell you this, if you're into the default space, it's a process. It is a train that's coming into the station and everybody gets in once you know what's going on. The trained and certified is your ticket. People that know how to speak REO, know how to speak default. There's a lot of things you can do. My dad told me, this is a great quote, it works if you do. That's one of my favorite quotes. So let's get started. More Listings Mastermind. Why would everybody want to jump on each week? Well, it's simple, to take more listings in 2026. Proven systems, win more listings, generate offers fast, cash offers systems. We got cash offers. We've got online offer platforms. We're absolutely maximizing our sellers' profits. I've never had a seller tell me they didn't want the most amount of money for their home. Never, not once. You got to work smarter, not harder, guys. I am the king of making things harder than they need to be. I can tell you that from experience. I'm always looking for ways to be more efficient and more effective. So let's go. Let's get started. 5 habits to grow your real estate business starting today. Number 1. And these are non-negotiables, by the way. So write these down, take a screenshot, ask me questions later, but this is what we need to do to grow our business. Number 1, lead generate. If you're not lead generating, it cannot be called a workday. It can. If you're not lead generating, whether you're selling homes, you're helping people buy homes, you're working with investors, or you're growing your agents, whatever it is, if you're not absolutely lead generating, phone calls, text messages, emails, AI, social media, smoke signals, some way you need to make sure that people know that you exist. Number two, track and measure your numbers. See what's working. What's working? Is the phone calls working? Is the texting working? Is AI, social media? What is working? You got to track and measure, because what gets measured gets improved. Number three, set appointments daily. A day without a seller or buyer appointment should be a red flag in your business. Number four, follow up like a pro. You've heard the term, the fortune is in the follow-up. Number five, sharpen your skills. Role play, study scripts, understand, internalize your messaging. Understand how to call a for sale by owner. You know how the best way to learn how to call a for sale by owner is pick up the phone and call one. You're sure we have great scripts, but just pick up the phone, have a conversation. It's fantastic. Now, I like expireds, and here I'll tell you why. Tom Ferry, excuse me. When you're approaching expireds, 78% of expired sellers list with the first agent that calls. That's why you see the bullish agents that are just really big time into expireds are calling early in the morning. 8 to 11 is when you prospect expireds. Be the first one to call up. Why did your home not sell? Tell me what you're looking to do. Boom. And you can find out if they're usually it's because they're unrealistic with their expectations. Expireds are huge, guys. Now, I don't know how to get a hold of the FSBOs. I don't know how to get a hold of the expireds. I'll drop in the chat box a 14-day free trial to My Plus Leads. I love it. I swear by it. FSBOs, expireds, and pre-foreclosure. We also have landlords and all that good stuff. Put together a 14-day free trial. Check it out. If it works for you, do it. But do yourself a favor. Don't sign up for it and then just let it sit there, because those 14 days go by fast. Only sign up for the free 14-day trial when you're ready to start taking action. Is that cool? Happens all the time. They sign up and didn't get around to it. Now it's expired. Don't do that. Do you have a cash offer solution? I can tell you this, more and more sellers I talk to every single day think they want a cash offer. And when they see the cash offer, they have a different opinion of that cash offer usually, but it keeps you in the conversation. You can attract, engage, and convert more sellers if you have a cash offer platform. I'll drop a link in the chat box for you there too as well. So 100% of them think they want a cash offer, and only 10% of them actually follow through with it once they see that low, terrible cash offer. But you got to stay in the conversation, guys. Are you driving traffic to your properties? Here's an example, one we just closed. First day on the market, 1 day on the market, over 3,000 views, 199 saves. And listing agents know what I'm talking about. When you list a property, it starts with the traffic to the websites, the syndicated websites like Zillow, like Trulia, like Redfin, like all of them. Are you driving traffic to the websites? Are you driving traffic to the open houses? 884 people, Kathy Ryan did this up in Temecula, using the same exact platforms we use every single day to market our properties, to drive the most amount of traffic to our properties. And this was during Christmas, guys. You can see the snowman over there on the front lawn. 884 people. I'll say it one more time. 884 people. I would love to know who on this call has ever had 80 people to the open house, let alone 884. Happens all the time. Then we offer transparent offers. We want these buyers transparently competing against each other. It's something I teach on Fridays in detail. You're more than welcome to join us on Fridays, and I'll give you some information how to do that. But at the end of the day, guys, efficiency and being effective. My wife and I just finished a 2+ year trip around the country in our RV, taking listings right there. That top right corner, that was me in the motorhome taking listings. If you have an efficient and effective way to do that, you're going to dominate. And one last thing I'd like to bring up before we get going with our program. We've just been introduced to something. I just added this literally about 20 minutes ago. We've partnered with Jay Kender. We're doing some amazing things. Now, if you're into FSBOs, expireds, and pre-foreclosure, fantastic. It helps you there. But we want to help you generate more traditional business, averaging about 2 to 6 leads per day, guys. That's a big deal. So I will certainly give you some information how you can join us. We have a live demo Thursday at 10 a.m. That's tomorrow. Thursday at 10 a.m., a live demo. I'll drop the link in the chat. You definitely want to sign up for this. There's no obligation. Doesn't cost anything. But sign up, check it out. And I'm telling you what, you'll thank me. I guarantee that. So with that said, enough about what I've been going over. I just like to go over the basics. Like when you go to the gym, you don't just run over to the curls and start just curling the heaviest weight. We're stretching. Now we're going to get into the good stuff. So if you guys want to take a look under the hood, find out what's going on in your business, you want to drive more traffic to your listings, I encourage you to reach out to me and let's have a conversation. Sound good? All right. Now, we're going to talk today about BPOs, broker price opinions. We're going to talk about the default space and how they're relevant. We were just having a conversation with our speaker, my mother, who's been in REO since the late 70s, early 80s. Been a long time.
Wait, I'm not your mother. Let's make that straight.
Oh, no,
Okay.
Wendy is not my mother. My mother has been in the business since the late 70s, early 80s. And now she's older now. She's almost 80. And so she's doing a ton of BPOs. So we're going to talk about BPOs, but I'm going to show you real quick why they're relevant. These are articles that I've just pulled out of the headlines. I literally pulled them up this morning. Foreclosures continued a gradual climb in 2026. Foreclosure prevention actions. They don't put foreclosure prevention actions in place if there's not foreclosures. 7.29 million since 2008. Foreclosure starts and REO trends higher year over year. It's all over the news, but most of us don't get an opportunity to even see this because we're not looking in the right places. I would encourage you, if you're listening to this, pull up the notice of defaults in your market. I'm in San Diego. I pull up defaults every single day. I reach out to homeowners in default every single day. Now, I have a low ratio in terms of getting a hold of them because most of the people have their head buried in the sand. A lot of times I'm doing a BPO and I'll see, yep, I've reached out to those people and I'm doing BPOs for the banks. So my point is, be prepared. And why would you listen to me? Well, let me tell you a little bit about my REO experience, and I'm going to transition right into our guest speaker. I'm super excited. I've been in the real estate industry since 1986. And the reason why I tell you that is because in the early 90s, when we were doing REO, it was called the glue stick era. And let me explain what that means. I know Wendy knows what that means, but we would get an assignment. We'd go check out the property. We'd take our photos. We'd go to the 1 hour photo, wait there for our photos to get ready. And I would always try to butter up the front row with the person doing the photos, try to become friends with them so they get my stuff done quicker. It very rarely worked because they're overwhelmed and they're paid. My point is, the glue stick era is when we go back to the office, pull out our typewriter, start typing up on a legal size paper our BPO, our comps, our property description, and we take a glue stick out and put on the back of the photo and pop them on the addendum. The BPOs, I think, were, oh God, inches, 3-4 inches thick. It was crazy. I was approved to 44 different banks the last time around, still am. And scored number one at 1% with Freddie Mac. 1% good, 10% means you're fired. And the reason why I bring that up is because everything we do, whether it's a BPO or an REO assignment, we're graded on. Everything has a scorecard. Super important. And we ran REO and short sale teams in 38 states, close 3,500, yada, yada, yada. My point is, I've seen a few things and I want to share that space with you. I want to remind you that I don't want anyone to lose their home. Never. There's going to be opportunities that the banks need an agent, a good agent, to be able to put a BPO together, a broker's price opinion for those banks. So with that said, I'm going to bring on our special guest, Wendy Martin. So Wendy, how are you?
I'm listening to you, man. I'm excited. And I would like you to tell these people here what happens when you finally get your first REO listing, but you suck at BPOs.
Oh man, that's a one time. Have you ever heard of a one hit wonder? Like in the music business, you were in the radio biz. You know what I'm talking about. A one hit wonder is you get one opportunity to make a first good impression. Uh, if you do a terrible BPO, they will not use you ever again. But here's the thing I like to remember. I'm a realtor. I help people buy and sell real estate. That's what I do. I had better know how to comp a property out. And that's all a BPO is. It's not a full appraisal, but it's certainly not a CMA that you can just push in some buttons. There's some work to do. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we're just going to have a conversation with Wendy, and we're going to talk about BPO. So Wendy, let's do this. Let's start here. Let's tell the audience first before we get started. Who's Wendy Martin?
No, I don't want to do that. No, I've been doing this. I've been in real estate here for 22 years. Um, And I've done it all. In fact, the first crash, I was visiting family um, in Cyprus, and I watched it on Al Jazeera TV, and I knew I had to pivot because things were going to go really wrong trying to do traditional real estate. And that's when I magically heard about BPOs. I mean, most agents, realtors don't even know what they are. But I always tell people BPOs are like a CMA on steroids, not an appraisal, but it's also a tool you can bring to a traditional listing appointment and say, hey, I do valuations for banks, and people are amazingly impressed.
Yeah.
So my business partner, Seth Russell, and I learned BPOs. We were actually living off of that only for a couple years while the short sales started getting together. So I think at that point we made between 40 and 80,000 a year after the crash doing BPOs. That helped sustain us while about 40% of agents in our area left the business because they just couldn't find any business. And today, the average agent in the past 12 months has closed 0 to 1 transactions. So we're back where we were again, looking for alternative revenue streams and also looking to become a master at BPOs. So when those REO opportunities hit, you can shine and you can get more and more bank-owned listings. So I would say don't bother getting into REO if you aren't already until you master BPOs. And if you don't know what you're doing, it will be a very short stay. So actually, Shane brought some slides that we can refer to as I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
Hey,
this.
before you get going on that,
Yeah.
you and I had a conversation. I don't know if we want to repeat it for the audience, but you and I know somebody that's very, very knowledgeable in this space. We can go without saying his name
Oh, okay.
if you like. Except I have
No,
no
we can go without saying his name, that's for
Okay,
sure.
but a little stats. This is somebody that knows a lot about the business. Just so we're clear, we're not just bringing up somebody that doesn't know what he's talking about. This guy knows what he's talking about. He's probably one of the sharpest tools in the shed, in the REO shed, anyway. What was he saying again? How many what numbers you're thinking?
To be expected, 500,000 active REO listings from now through December. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
That's a lot of opportunity. Again, we don't want anyone to lose their home, but the banks need representation as well. And I can tell you, after being in the REO market since the early 90s, the stay alive until 95 glue stick era, that there's a lot of opportunity to work with corporate sellers. And if you worked with a corporate seller before, it's a different vibe than working with, mom and dad that have real issues with their linoleum and those kinds of things. So I just wanted to bring that number up because there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the BPO space. So Wendy, why don't you go ahead and take it away, and let's educate some folks.
Okay. I don't need slides, but maybe they're here.
There they are. They're coming
There we
right
go.
now.
Yay.
Ta-da.
Yeah, we wrote this BPO course because, frankly, we took the NABPOP course, National Association of Broker Price Opinions, and it was more geared toward appraisal language and doing appraisals, which thank God it was open book or I wouldn't have passed it after the third time. But also because the list of BPO companies to sign up with that we were seeing were ancient. So we really wanted to offer a course where then you could use that knowledge and actually sign up with companies that still existed. So that's why we created this. We can go on to that next slide, please. So basically, I'm going to skip a lot of this, but BPOs, first of all, are a secret lead source. Shane helps Seth and I and a bunch of people who work with us capture every single BPO order that comes to our mailbox. Why? Because that is early gold. That is earlier than any pre-REO list you can buy, any pre-REO list you can get from a title company in certain states. And often, including now when it's getting more prevalent, these orders will say default or foreclosure on them. So this is great information to go after short sales and also people who aren't aware that they have equity. They can sell their home, before they get foreclosed on. But many agents don't realize that that is an amazing way to get more clients. Another way we leverage BPOs is we teach short sales in Oregon and Washington, my business partner and I. And we realized we were going to a lot of interior BPOs, and we were the first people to show up who had any empathy for these people in trouble. You know, they're not answering the phone, they're not opening their mail. And we would say, well, tell me what's going on. And you just see this look of relief, like, oh my gosh, I can actually talk to somebody. And we would get that short sale listing. So let's back up a second, because I know some of you are going to shake your head. It is not against the law to talk to someone you're doing a BPO at their house for, right? It is discouraged on your copies of the BPO orders you get. But the beauty of it is we're helping someone avoid foreclosure by doing a short sale. And also, we're setting the listing price with our BPO. So when you get in these large entities, banks back then, different servicers now, the BPO department doesn't talk to the short sale department. So we did ourselves a great service on the non-FHA BPOs, which set the price themselves, by setting that price with our BPO and then going to market knowing that the bank knows that's how much they need. So that is your lead source from BPOs.
And Wendy, can I bring up something about short sales real
Please,
quick?
please do.
I had a conversation last week with 3 expireds. They were non-owner occupied landlord expireds. They were reason why they weren't selling is because they were listed too high because they needed too much because they were underwater if they went down to the market value. There's a lot of conversations to be had in the short sale space, and the BPO literally is your key to get inside and talk to that seller or potential seller big time. Don't miss that opportunity.
Yeah, and when we do talk to these people who are in trouble, and we tell them, you know, we do BPOs for different entities and banks and stuff, they know we know what we're doing. Okay, not to say if you do a CMA you don't know what you're doing, but we are interacting with these entities often, so we know what they're looking for. And also, you can win REO listings knowing how to master the BPO. There is one company out there right now um, that is auditioning agents, and they'll find you on Bid on Homes, and that is Tricon. I know you know them well, Robert.
Yeah.
Um, and your audition is your BPO. And let me tell you, Bid on Homes probably has the hardest BPO you'll ever do. So those chances are coming along way more often now, as it's harder to find BPO agents in some areas or agents who know how to determine what that value actually will be. Um, and uh, we also use BPOs to let your traditional sellers know that we do valuations for banks and other entities, and then they tend to trust us more. Uh, Not to say CMAs are not good. Um, some of the things that, and we can move on from that slide. Some of the things that we talk about in the course, actually, we go from prep all the way to sample BPOs and how to do the BPO itself. We talk about the types of BPOs you must avoid. And I'll tell you a little story here. I had an order for an interior BPO on a thoroughly remodeled property, and that was vacant but not selling. So the rehabber wanted to get an $80,000 equity line. I show up the house and there is nowhere to put $80,000. Okay. Everything is dialed. So I call the point of contact who wants that money and I say, hey, where do you want me to put that 80 grand? Did I miss something here? And he said, wherever you want, honey. I'm like, oh, geez. Okay. So I call Clear Capital, the company that gave me that order. And I said to the vendor manager, I'm not really understanding what I'm supposed to do here because I can't give you anything that needs to be repaired or added. And they said, just make it up. So I said, I can't. I will not participate in fraud. And if you all remember, if you were in the business back during the The last crash, there was a lot of appraisal kind of lender stuff going on where they chose the appraiser and told them what value they needed. And I don't want to go to court. Well, guess what? Clear Capital never sent me another order. And I wasn't upset about it because you got to take your stand. And there are things that you will decline to do in this business. We also talk about BPO companies that don't pay. There's a few of them out there. And if you have done BPOs before, you'll know that a lot of them change their name just to avoid being known for what they used to do that wasn't so kosher. We're also seeing property condition reports that pay way more than broker price opinions right now. There's one company out there, they send anywhere from 10 to 800 orders a day to each individual. And they have paid up to $300 for me to drive 30 minutes to take 5 pictures and answer a few questions. So when we say rev stream, we're pretty serious. And we do point those out in the course on who you can counter. Stewart is one of them, or they will send you something for $30. We always counter 50%, and we get those reports 95% of the time. So there are a lot of tips and tricks in the course, and the most valuable thing is the list of BPO companies, because everywhere that we've looked, we've seen old information, and we don't want to put that out there. We'll go on to the next slide.
And while you're changing the slides, I want to bring up what she was just talking about. If you caught it, a lot of agents are looking for side hustles and outside of real estate. Did you say again how much that inspection gave paid you to drive 30 minutes? How much was that? $300?
Yep.
Those are the opportunities that you, Wendy and Seth, will introduce you to. And that keeps you in the business. Number one, it keeps you educating yourself on how to provide value for a seller. And there's no better tool when you're in real estate is learning how to evaluate properties. That's the hardest thing for most agents. Once you master that, you've got a really good opportunity. It's a chance to get in front of as many asset managers as you can. It's a chance to put gas in your car. It's a chance to educate yourself and grow some income. Lots of opportunity. So anyway, thank you for bringing that up. I wanted to reiterate those powerful tools you brought up.
Thank you, Robert. And we've seen a trend too recently where when you fill out to apply for a BPO company, they're asking for sample BPOs. So we made sure we put in the course that you do a sample and we meet with you and go over it because you don't want to fail your first time around. And every BPO you do has your name on it when it's delivered to the client. So it's really important that you know what you're doing. Just briefly, every safety net was gone in October last year. That's why we're seeing a massive increase in BPO volume and REO volume. REO right now, the increases that we have are reverse mortgage and HUD. And HUD is being disseminated different ways now. It's not just coming through having a HUD contract. There are a lot of different players that are offering HUD REOs at the moment. We'll go on to the next. Wow, I've never seen this before. Thank you, Shane. What I've seen recently is the folks who bought homes with FHA loans since COVID in 2020, 26% of them are in default. The majority of those right now are southern states and Midwest. And Robert says that's where it always starts, right? And then it just spreads. Is there something you want to say about that, sir?
Well, you know what? I at least I see it in I see it in the national numbers, but I really pay closer attention to what's going on in my market. I'm in San Diego, and if anyone knows San Diego, it always starts in like Jacumba, Boulevard, Campo. That I have a couple in Campo right now, and it starts in the rural areas and it kind of comes in to the city. So that's kind of how it starts. So just know that there is going to be some drive time. There's going to be some BPOs that you're going to need to know because nobody wants to drive an hour away to go take a picture and make $50. It's the relationship that we're building. That's what I want to make sure we're understanding. You're building a relationship. You're doing them a favor. no problem. I'll do that, but you got to do it for the right people. And that's what Wendy will introduce you to, is doing BPOs for the right folks.
That's correct. Okay, we'll move on. Do we have any more slides here? Ah, yes. At first, when I looked at this, I was like, I'm not impressed. But then I really saw that we are on the uptrend here. And there's a particular asset manager that gives me a lot of reverse mortgage. And she said, we can't even get ready quick enough to get everything sent out to agents. So that's kind of where they're going through everything now before they're going to assign them. So my point is, if you do BPOs, brush up and get great at them again, get ready. And if you're breaking into REO, learn how to do them, whether it's from us or somewhere else, because that is your key. You've got to be able to tell them what that home is valued at, period. And one more thing, being on time is late. A lot of you know that already. You've got to be early with your BPOs when you're in REO. Correct, Robert?
That is like one of the first things they talk about in REO 101 is, if it's due tomorrow, do it today. And because anytime you say, oh, it's not due to tomorrow, I'll get it done tomorrow, something always comes up, guys. So do it early, because if there's any kind of questions, or, hey, I need you to verify or clarify or do whatever, and then you have time to clarify it, get it back in, it's still on time. Yeah, do it early. My mom taught me that right early on.
And did you mention already? Yes, that your mom does BPOs. I can't
Yeah.
even get over that.
Yeah, she started in the days of the
Oh,
bank repo days, and she went into a quick story. You're going to love this, and I know we'll get going with your thing. But she was she used to work at Home Federal just as a teller, and then she got into new accounts, just keeping busy while the kids are in school, right? And then she got into the real estate business in '76. Then she was in this real estate office trying to break ground into real estate, and American Savings came into her office. It was a top office in the country, Central 21. And they went to the number one producer in the office and said, hey, we have some bank owned properties we'd like to have you list for us. Who's your top agent? They went to the top agent. He goes, this is what we expect. He's all, no, thanks. And then he went to the next top producer and the next top producer and the next top producer. Nobody wanted it because they seem on surface a bit cumbersome in terms of the tasks that you need to do. They seem a little demanding. Well, she's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. I'll do it. She became the largest REO broker in the country, not only in the bank repo days of the early 80s, but again in the 90s and again in the early 2000s. So I'm telling you what, she does a ton of BPOs right now, and it's keeping her busy. She's 80 and she's loving it.
wow. I'm so impressed.
Yeah.
Um, I want to see if there are any questions anyone has. I know some people, I recognize some faces. Lisa, and I see Jen Tuck, Karen Gray. Thank you for coming here today. Any questions before we go on to the basics of what it costs and all that stuff?
I do know that some agents, they hear the word BPO, but they don't know what it means, and it means broker price opinion. Some people don't want to ask because they think it's remedial. Broker price opinion. There's a lot of acronyms in real estate. There's even more in REO, like REO, real estate owned. So
Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
Any questions for Wendy before we move to the next? All right, let's keep going.
All right. I just thought of something I was going to say when you were talking about BPO, but we'll move on. Let's talk about what this course costs
Yeah, let's do it.
and what it entails. And it's special today. Shane, I'll have you explain, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple different packages. We have the core package and pro package, and the core package, you'll get access to our weekly Zoom on Wednesdays. That's all of this is also included in the pro package. You'll get 25 modules with all the tools you need to make money doing broker price opinions. And you can go through those at your own pace. You'll have, unlimited access to those modules. You'll also get this massive list of well over 50 BPO companies that you can immediately sign up with and get started. And that's constantly growing, constantly evolving and being updated. You also get tons of resources, so great bonus materials, all the links to everything that you would need, and virtually unlimited earning potential, getting started with BPOs. With the pro package, the main difference here is that you also get 2 1-hour private coaching sessions with Wendy and Seth, where they'll actually review a BPO sample with you and go through that with you and make sure that you can absolutely do BPOs before you submit any sample. You'll also get exclusive access to a list of REO companies so that, once you're ready to get more into REO, you can do that. That is also something that's constantly being added to and being updated. You also get access to our private Facebook community, and we're also going to be offering 30% off for our future REO short sale and probate courses.
I'm going to mention something, Shane, while you're in this, and that is the most valuable thing. Well, there are two most valuable things: the lists of BPO and REO companies, which I swear I went through another lifetime doing these because I want them to be real and correct and updated. And also the Zoom calls where we just answer questions, and that occurs every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And the collaboration and the answering of questions and the people who are learning BPO but want to get into REO is really informative. We're going to do it till we're dead. So it's not just going to expire. And we enjoy helping people. So it's not just we drop a course in your lap, bye-bye. We really want everyone to be able to collaborate together.
You know what I was hoping to do is I like to put it into simple forms of numbers. What's the average BPO? Let's say the average exterior BPO. What are you seeing?
We're seeing anywhere from $30, which I'm laughing, and that would be countered. We teach you how to counter each company. And let's see, REO America, I did one for 175 the other day. So it depends. But PCRs pay more on average. It's really weird. So the easier thing to do is paying more at this time, probably before REO just has the full explosion. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
absolutely. So let's just do some simple math. If you were to average it out, let's say 50 to 75 bucks, let's just keep it easy. It's 50 bucks. You do 10 of those, that's 500 bucks. You do
Yep.
10 BPOs, that's 500 bucks. And the course is well paid for. But one thing I want to, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, so stay with me here. The reason why I'm bringing this up, you're getting paid to learn how to do BPOs. You're getting paid to learn how to make some really good money, but more importantly, you're getting paid to be ready for the next level when that REO market does rear its ugly head, and it certainly will, and it certainly already has. You're getting paid to do a great job. And when you do a great job on a BPO, that's your calling card. And Wendy mentioned earlier, they're auditioning agents. If you suck at BPOs, you will not get REO. That's the way it works. We are talking offline. There's a lot of agents out there, and some of them I'm amazed they even have a license. But there's some agents out there that really just kind of they get a transaction, they get it closed, and then they make some decent money. But can you imagine being really good at what you do? And not only for your traditional clients, but for your bank clients who don't really care about your how nice you are. They just want you to do a good job because most of it's all it's a faceless relationship. It's here's the property. We need this, and this, and with this when we need it. And they expect it to be dialed in on time, ready to go. So I just want to make sure that we don't lose sight of the amount of money that you can make doing BPOs. I'm telling you what, it is. I mean, like I said, that's all my mom does for a living because she doesn't want to go out and list properties anymore. She's done with doing that stuff. But my point is, get involved in this BPOs. I highly, highly, highly recommend you getting involved. And I would personally do the pro package. I would get involved, do it at a high level. That is nothing. You get 10 BPOs, that's a profit center for you right there. And if you're only doing, you should probably do 10, 15 BPOs a week if you're doing it part-time. So what's the most amount of BPOs an agent, Wendy? What's the most amount of BPOs you think an agent that's producing can do in say a week's time if it's within your county?
Well, I was just talking to someone who took our course who did 70 BPOs in a week for one company. She makes anywhere from 120 grand to 200 grand a year doing BPOs. She streamlined it, right? She has a CRM, she's got everything set up. And another friend of mine in Nashville, he actually has, he's a pastor and uh, he solicits homeless people to help him do data entry. Let's get this straight. With a BPO, you can have someone enter the data. But you have to do the comments, the comps, and the value. Okay. So he is helping his community by having people help him enter the data from the MLS. And he made 220 grand last year.
Ooh, that's real money, guys. That is real
Insanity.
money. That is real money. And I can, what I like about it is you're staying within your business. Let's be honest. I'm on Facebook, social media stuff, just posting whatever. And I see so many, what's the side hustle? What's the side hustle? It's in your, within your business. You're getting paid to be a better agent. That's why I like them. That's why I accept every BPO. I just picked up another BPO company yesterday, and it's awesome. My mom and I do them together. She does all the inputting. She takes the photos. I do the BPOs, and it's just a great relationship, and it's a good way to go. So, what else? Now I know you have a sign up code so folks can sign up for this course. Do we have it available yet?
We do. I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat right now. So we got
And by the way,
30% off. Yeah.
we've never offered 30% off before. We're doing it for you and your people and the people who are here. So I hope that that becomes enticing. And Robert, I want you to tell people what else we're working on together.
Now we've got an REO course that we're working on, kind of a BPO REO course, a certification. But you're the master behind it. Why don't you dive in and give them a quick update of what's going on?
Yeah, we are working on an REO course. We want to be different than the stuff that's out there. So we're kind of taking our time a little bit, especially with vetting the companies. Let's put it this way. It's not like the last crash. It's not Bank of America and Wells Fargo and, Countrywide or whatever. This is a different entity now. You're going to get some from banks, REO listings. You're going to get some from servicing companies, but we do a lot with hedge funds and institutional buyers and sellers as well. So I thought that was a different take that we could get into in our REO course because we get just as much business from institutional entities as we do with your normal lenders and banks. So that's going to be a large part of the course as well. And we will include a institutional hedge fund list to sign up with, as well as the REO list, which we are including in our pro package.
And that right there's the price of admission. I'm telling you, that hedge fund list, that's a big segment of the default space. That's
Yep.
up to this point, that's really been the bulk of my default business is from hedge funds. And there's so many players in that space. And you do a good job for somebody, I can tell you what, they will not keep you a secret. If you do a terrible job, you absolutely will not be kept a secret because they'll tell everybody don't sign up with that guy. But my
That's
point is
right.
it's a very tight-knit community, and it's a relationship driven. They're not going to drive down the street and see, oh, hey, look at that cute bus bench. Let's send them REO business. We need to reach out to them, do a good job for them, and then we are in their ecosystem. But it takes some time, and it's not for somebody that just, like I said when we first started this, success comes before work, right? So it's not. You got to work, and then the success comes. So it's a great time. I think the biggest thing is, Wendy and I have been training folks in this space for quite some time. This isn't just like, hey, I see the REO market coming or the default space kicking up. Let's start a program. There's a lot of opportunity out there to spend a lot of unnecessary money. Make sure you make the right decisions. I tell my agency anyway, in my organization, if somebody sends you sign up for this and sign up for that and do this, run it by me first. I've seen it all. It's the biggest money grab on the planet. So it's really important to choose wisely, and I tell you what, everyone in our organization, just absolutely dies by this program. This is perfect way to learn BPOs and learn the default space and become a well-rounded, true professional. So, Wendy, what do we want to say about the, to the newer agents that are maybe thinking, yeah, you know what, I want to get into this business, but I don't know what to do. I think the first thing, in my opinion, would be to sign up for the BPO class. Do whatever you can to sign up for it. But what do we want to say to the newer agent thinking of getting into this space?
Don't fall for the money grabs. There are a lot of conferences and platforms where you will sign up thinking, okay, I'm going to get REOs right away. The one money grab I wouldn't fall for is buying zip codes. Okay. They'll say, well, if you buy these, zip codes, then you'll get REO listings in those zip codes. You won't. They will get your money. You won't get the listings that way. Listings are created through relationships. So the one thing I usually tell people is go find me and Robert on LinkedIn and then go connect with everyone we're connected with. Do it that way. Create a relationship. Don't be calling asset managers. Write a short email with your coverage area, your resume if you want, and entice them with what you do. But very short, okay? I've known people who write way too much in their BPOs and in their communication with asset managers. But create relationships, don't fall for the money grabs, and choose wisely when you go to the conferences. That is not really about the learning, it's about the creating relationships. And I'll give you one sample of that. I went to 5 Star years ago and met the owner of ResNet. And we got along great. This was in the bar, right? And I get home and I get a call from someone who works for him and said, would you like to sell Keith's daughter $1 million house for cash? I said, well, of course I would. And that's how things begin, right? So from there, I brought so many people to the ResNet platform that they gave me half price on ResNet membership every year. Build the relationships, don't overpay, and don't buy zip codes. How's that?
I think that's perfect. And speaking of 5 Star, I don't know if you were at the conference where REO Speedwagon played, but that was amazing. So anyway, that was kind of a play on words there. But I think the biggest thing is we need to remember is it is relationships. There's a lot of money grabs, so just be patient. I think it starts with the BPO. I'm a checklist guy. I'm a do step one before you do step two kind of guy. Step one, learn the BPO. Nobody better than Wendy and her team that teach you that. Then get into the REO space. I would recommend doing that first. So if you're new or if you're somebody that hasn't done it, because most agents haven't been involved in a heavy stream of REO business since 2008-9. That's when the short sale started coming around. We had the moratorium and there really didn't, have any kind of volume after that. So there's not a lot of agents that have experience. So asset managers are looking for good agents that can, because they're the boots on the ground. You need to be proactive. You need to be solution based. You need to come in with solutions, not problems. And one thing I'd like to say to the newer agent, and could be an experienced agent too, is go to the city and county, two different places. There's the city, then there's the county, and go in there to their building department and find out what their take, each city and county, what their take on REO foreclosures, on vacant and or abandoned properties through the foreclosure process. What are their rules and regulations? What are their guidelines? Be an expert and share that with that same LinkedIn group of asset managers. Hi, my name is Robert Weichelt. I specialize in San Diego County. In San Diego County, here are their views on vacant and or abandoned properties that you may need to be aware of. Here are some important links to, if you have a property in San Diego, these are some important links that you may need to reach out to. So you're proactively making sure your property is protected and the fines aren't piling up. Well, better yet, why don't you call me for all things San Diego and I will be your boots on the ground. Just saying. Those are the kind of things that I would recommend you do. but it takes a little bit of work, guys. So it works if you do. You've heard me say that before. So I know we're wrapping it up here. What else do you want to go over in terms of your BPO course, Wendy, before we close this up?
The only other thing I want to say is because of the growing hedge fund and institutional buyers and sellers, that's your calling card even more, because with a lot of the hedgies, we're going to properties they're thinking of purchasing and doing the BPO before they purchase them. So your relationship will die quickly if you don't know what you're doing. And they are not bothering to look on Zillow or Canary or whatever it is. They're counting on us. And that is about 50% of our business right now. So that is what I want you to know.
I love it. I love it. You guys put the QR code, or not your promo link, excuse me, put the promo link in the chat, it looks like. Check it out, guys. I'm telling you what, it's going to be fantastic. Yeah, there's your link in the chat box. Check it out. Sign up for the course. It certainly pays for itself, but the relationship that you get to build, the camaraderie, the masterminding, the brainstorming is priceless. Jumping on a call with other like-minded agents, learning the same thing, learning from others, because you don't know what you don't know until you jump in. It's certainly not for everyone, I can tell you that, but it's certainly for the agent that wants to be detailed, that wants to be systemized and streamlined, and a resource for a market that is certainly one that you can participate in, or you certainly watch from the sidelines, but it's not a both thing. And most agents don't even know about this coming. So you get ahead of the curve. This is certainly a way to do it. I like to look at it as you've got the train, you've seen the movies where the train's coming into the station, everybody gets off, and then all the new passengers get on. But there's always that guy that's running after somebody, and the train's just leaving the station. That's the REO train. The people on that train are trained and certified and planted the seeds and positioned. And then that one agent that wants to catch up, and he grabs onto the railing as that train's getting ready to haul ass out of the station, and he just barely made it, but there's a whole bunch of people that didn't get on that train. Don't be that agent. So with that said, that's a nice visual I'd like to leave you with. Sign up for Wendy's course. You will thank me. I guarantee it. It's awesome. So Wendy, any closing remarks by either from you or either Shane would like to close this up? How would you like to close this up?
Shane, how long is this 30% off going to last? Do you know? I don't know.
So usually, 30% off with that link, we usually do for 24 hours. So I would definitely take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
You guys, awesome.
We'd be willing to extend that through Friday if anyone is interested. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. But I thank you for coming. I really appreciate you listening, and I hope we get to work together.
Well, I love it. Well, I tell you what, I'm certainly appreciate you guys. Go ahead and I'll go ahead and share my screen. Let's end your sharing, Shane.
Sure.
The link is in the chat box. Go ahead and click on that link. And I tell you what, you guys, I want to thank Wendy and Shane for coming on. This has been great, fantastic. Thank you so much. We're going to definitely have you back on as many times as I tell you what, because I truly believe in this program. I truly believe in what Wendy's doing. She comes from contribution, and that's big. I think she should be charging more, just so we're clear. So with that said, I want to thank you, Wendy and Shane, for coming on today. I want to go over what's going on next week. We have Joe Peterson with iList. I don't know if you have not seen iList. I put it in the chat box. You got to check out iList. iList is great. Taking more listings using cash offers. Joe will come on and talk about that again every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Go to morenowlistings.com. You don't need to register. Just jump on and get ready to rock and roll. I also want to let you know about Coach Kathy. Ryan and I have a Ask the Coach training, coaching, accountability call we do on Fridays. I put that in the chat box as well. But I certainly, this is just a look under the hood. What's going on in your business? Well, Robert, I was on your call on Wednesday with Wendy. Tell me more about that. Let's go. Let's do it. Hey, I want to know more about the funnel pilot you're doing with Jay Kinder. Let's talk about it. Let's grow our business. What's working? I had a call from a seller the other day. It doesn't matter what the question is. As long as it's real estate related, we're going to get to the bottom of it. You get to learn from others and you get to benefit from what we're talking about. So I definitely jump on that. Fridays at 10 o'clock. My mortgage lender, John Allen, is great. If you're looking for a good lender that really knows the business, first the loan, then the home, reach out to John Allen. He's fantastic. And with that said, guys, this is your last chance to reach out to me. If you want to sit down to how do you figure out how you're going to get more listings, maximize your success in 2026, schedule a 30-minute strategy session. Let's take a look under the hood. So with that said, I want to thank you all for jumping on. This is Robert Weichelt for the More Listings Mastermind. I want to thank my special guest, Wendy Martin, and her wonderful sidekick, Shane. I tell you, guys are fantastic. Appreciate you coming on. And remember, guys, we'll see you in escrow.